Welcome to the Standards Insider October 2024 edition. Here are your updates.
During the recent AAMI Sterilization Standards Week, we had the opportunity to hear from SD Working Group 12 co-chairs Damian Berg and Attila Nazari regarding the revision of TIR 12. This document focuses on providing manufacturers guidance for developing clear and compliant instructions for use for reusable medical devices. Damon and Attila discussed how crucial it is to ensure these IFUs are evidence based, scientifically sound, and practical for both device manufacturers and end users in healthcare settings.
And I want to preface this is a manufacturer's document. And what that means is it is not giving guidance to the end users on how to utilize IFUs, instructions for use, or those complex details on how they're created. What it is, it's giving manufacturers guidance of these are the things to consider when developing IFUs that are important, not only for the device manufacturer, the regulatory side, the testing labs, but also the end user. So it's exciting to see where it's come from to where it is now, but with the ever-changing complexity of medical devices and also the ever-changing complexity and regulatory compliances of reprocessing or processing departments, we want to make sure that practice and standards and IFUs all merge, so there's not a confusion, there's not a displacement of opinion and what we need to do. It's based off of evidence-based practice, science, and regulatory practices. So that's why it got reaffirmed, because it is needed, and it's reopened because there is more information we need to put in there, as well as more changes to all the things I just said.
One of the driving factors for reopening and revising TIR 12 is the growing complexity of medical devices paired with increasing demands for regulatory compliance. With more intricate designs and materials being used, clear reprocessing instructions have become even more essential to ensure patient safety. This revision aims to address the feedback gathered from manufacturers, regulatory bodies, and healthcare professionals to ensure IFUs remain a critical tool in safe device reprocessing. Switching gears to new work item TIR 124, a new initiative focused on providing guidance on ISO 14937, specifically for gas vapor sterilization modalities. Project leader Byron Lambert, along with co-chairs of SD Working Group 11, Jeffrey Peltier and Tim Carlson, discussed the importance of expanding standards beyond existing sterilization technologies to meet the needs of an evolving healthcare landscape.
So we do have ISO 14937, but there is a general gap in guidance as far as how specific information is out there, guidance is out there, or standardization for these additional modalities. So the time is right, in other words.
Right. And people are getting more experience because of the pressing need. People are trying it, getting experience, doing validations, doing material compatibility. So now they're more informed to be able to give specific guidance on how to apply 14937 to these new modalities. So the time is just right.
Fantastic. And Working Group 11, Sterilization Working Group 11, which is, I believe, general criteria for sterilization processes and sterilizing equipment. It's a mouthful, but that's where 14937 resides. And these new projects are going to be. You all just had your first meeting, kickoff meeting for this project. How'd it go?
I think it went fantastic. And I'm going to give Byron a lot of credit for that, because we had the ad hoc meeting during the previous meeting and actually got people interested in it. And we had time to send out emails and gauge further interest. And so, I mean, as far as the attendance goes, we just estimated we were probably over 100 people between online and in person. And there were a lot of local people. So it wasn't just people sitting in the seats wanting to know what we were doing. They were actually speaking out and giving feedback on how we're going to go about this.
With growing industry interest and the demand for innovative sterilization, this project aims to fill critical gaps in current guidance. Lastly, TIR 17 compatibility of materials subject to sterilization is getting a fresh update, and it will be published in the coming weeks. Jamie McLaren, co-chair for SD Working Group 96, shared how this document helps product engineers understand how different materials interact with sterilization processes.
There's also quite a bit of material on there related to aging and how those tests are set up in product development and how that relates to sterilization. So a lot of good stuff in there that, again, critical to the product design engineer. And I can maybe just talk a little bit about the history. I believe this is the fourth revision of this TIR. It was first conceived in the late 90s, I believe 1997 was the first revision. And it started off as just relating to radiation compatibility. Actually started off as part of the radiation working group here at AAMI, where they put together a lot of information specific to compatibility of materials with radiation, as well as the aging material that went in there. 2008 was the second revision where several other sterilization modalities were added. And then 2017, which was actually when I became involved in that TIR, they added a lot of material specific to these sterilization modalities and kind of did a reorganization. So all of the material was presented in this consistent way. It made it much more readable, and it was very successful. And then when the TIR again came up for revision, I think it was a pretty easy decision to open this up again, mainly for the reason that technology, both in sterilization and medical devices related to materials, is always evolving. And so for this particular revision, we added one additional sterilization modality, I believe, that's chlorine dioxide. And we're also kind of reconsidering some of the information that's been in there since the beginning is now more completely described in other documents, particularly the material related to aging. So we're kind of revising that, pulled some of that stuff out of there, and a lot of other really, I think, beneficial changes for the latest update here.
With updates on new sterilization methods like chlorine dioxide and fresh data on material aging, this revision will be a valuable resource to users and manufacturers moving forward.
Thank you for joining the AAMI Standards Spotlight. Today I'm here with Samuel Yates from Calgon Carbon. He is a project leader for a new technical information report, TIR 123, User Considerations, Design of Activated Carbon Systems for Hemodialysis with Non-Continuous Flow Empty Bed Contact Time Calculation. This is a TIR being developed under AAMI-RD, the Renal Disease and Detoxification Committee, that expands on information from the ISO 23500 series, particularly in relation to empty bed contact time. Sam, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little more about the background of TIR 123?
Hi, Jill. Thanks. Yes, so I am Sam Yates. I've been with the Renal Dialysis Group since 2021. I'm the technical resource from Calgon Carbon that works with the standards group and just generally helps the market however I can. The task that we were challenged with in creating this TIR was it was noted that as RO systems have gotten more involved and more developed, they have a lot of times shrunk in size, and so their instantaneous water needs have actually shrunk. They're not doing the continuous large pools of water, and as a result, we have found that the carbon beds that are before the RO systems are actually turning out to be a bit oversized, which is adding cost and taking up space in our clinics. And there's questions about, is there a better way to calculate this to meet the 10-minute contact time that 23500 standard dictates? So what our group got together to do was to create this TIR 123, that is giving some history on how we got to where we are, why the 10-minute contact time exists in the standard, and what's changed, and how to calculate a true contact time when you're having a water flow that is only coming in sips. So maybe half of the contact of the actual carbon bed is getting used at one time, volume wise of water, but as opposed to a continuous flow. And how does that impact the way you calculate that so that you can still stay standard compliant, but maybe you can get away with a smaller carbon bed?
Can you provide some information on what influenced the committee to develop this TIR?
As I was saying, as these systems have evolved, they have shrunk in other places, which obviously is a benefit on cost and space. But the carbon bed, based on the way that it's been traditionally calculated, it requires a larger volume than is maybe necessarily truly needed to keep the patient safe. And so that's why we were tasked with taking another look at this. Is there a better way to calculate this so that we can keep patients safe, keep the dialysate water appropriately designed so that they're not going to have any issues, but take less space and allow those clinics to either spend less money, get that space back for other critical needs that they may have, or possibly both.
Can you update us on the progress of TIR 123?
We are currently at a working draft state. We have spent the majority of 2024 working on this with monthly meetings. We have it in a state that, while probably not perfect by any means, is at least ready for the committee to review and give us some good feedback. And then we'll take that and do as many drafts as necessary before it's ready for a vote.
It sounds like the group's making really great progress. It's important that we have a wide variety of stakeholders on the committee, especially when there are new work items. For this particular project, we're seeking users in the stakeholder category. Can you tell us more, Sam?
Yeah, we're absolutely willing to take user input. The more insights that we can have, the different opinions that we can incorporate into it, the more of a robust document we can have. That way, it's not just a couple of experts talking to everybody. Maybe we can get different viewpoints and make sure that everyone will understand what we're trying to communicate.
Thank you so much for joining us today and providing some insight on TIR 123 and sharing some information with our members. If you would like to join the RD committee or would like more information on this TIR, please contact me, Jill Zajac, at jzajac@aami.org. Please view Standards Monitor online for a complete list of new projects and committee calls for members. Listed below are a few new work items that are looking for stakeholders in category groups listed.